Liz Jamora writes, "My question is, why does a studio care if a screenplay originated from a video game storyline? Audiences see sci-fi action flicks every day, not knowing where the story came from. I'm confused as to why the marketing would be different than any other movie. Why wouldn't the draw of the original fans only add to the audience numbers in addition to any big name they attach to the project? I also don't understand why the approach to creating video game adaptation movies seems to be so different than any other sci-fi action film. As you've already discussed in length, they haven't been particularly strong in the past."
One of the things you have to keep in mind when dealing with either a video game property, a comic book property, a novel property, anything that makes it unique from an original piece of material, because you're right, I mean, who cares if there's a sci-fi video game movie? They make sci-fi movies that aren't based on video game movies that people have never heard of. What's the problem? The problem is this: preconceived notions and preconceived ideas. So let's take, I don't know, Stonehammer the Mighty, okay? So you create this, from scratch, you write a script about Stonehammer the Mighty and his conquests of the Scottish Highlands against the, invading alien hordes. Okay.
I want to play this game.
So, no, it's a movie. This is a movie.
Oh, I want to play the game first.
And so obviously nobody's ever heard of him. So, but you can make that because nobody in advance has heard of him, has a negative or positive feeling towards him. You've got a clean slate. When you're looking at something else, like let's say, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z, for example. I'm just pulling this, not meaning to pick on Dragon Ball Z. But you will have a segment of people that will be excited about that, but you also have a segment of people going, yeah, I've heard of that. That's a kid's thing. That's whatever. Rightly or wrongly, maybe that's unfair. But you not only as a studio are trying to cultivate the people who like it already, you also have to take in consideration how will this hit the people who have heard about it and don't like it already. So it's a very different beast that you're having to deal with when you're dealing with a pre-existing property and all of the notions that come along from people and expectations. Nobody has any expectations of Stonehammer. They're just going to go and take it as it is. Whereas if you make a thing based on, Sonic the Hedgehog, you make a live-action movie about Sonic the Hedgehog, you're gonna get the people who are fans of the game, but you're also gonna have to deal with that larger part of the population that goes, well, I know what Sonic the Hedgehog is. Why would I want to see that? And you don't have that with original screenplays. So I'm sure there's more to it than that, but that's the first impression I have about it. Anyway, Schnepp, how do you see it?
You bring up a lot of good points. I think I can add just saying, like, if you stick to what made the original game popular, then you'll have those game fans. It seems kind of logical, but that never happens when the movie adaptations happen. They're like, no, we're not going to go in a totally different direction from that game that made several $billion. We've got the name and the characters. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to tell this totally different story. That's usually what happens with the video game adaptations that fail. So the few that have succeeded stuck closer to actually what the original video game was like. So I would like to see that more so than, I'd love to see Attack of the Colossus and just see some dude running along. Just make it all full 3D. It'd be crazy. I mean, just do what the game did, but make it a movie. I mean, it's really simple. I wish they would just do it.
Dennis?
I think they have to write a fine line, by appeasing the original fan base and also appealing to a broader audience. And there's a reason why studios come to like a place like Comic-Con and show off and try and impress this. I mean, even though we think of it as a big thing, a smaller percentage of the audience. It's because they want to create a good buzz about that property and appease the original fans so that they don't go spreading around bad, negative things about it, because they don't want the first image of whatever property that they're adapting to be that. Because you and me are big UFC fans. The UFC documentary, they said one of the problems they had was after they had declared it this no hold bars, to the death, no rules type of thing, the hard thing about it was when they tried to legitimize it as a sport, that they couldn't get past that initial
overcoming that initial image they had.
And so that's the same thing with these movie properties adapting from video games or comic books or whatever. If they get that negative image from the start, people are going to pass that around, and then the casual fans will hear that, even though they know nothing about it. They'll hear it from other people and go like, okay, that's a bad thing.
Aaron?
Well, why do studios care if a screenplay originates from a video game? Because historically they suck.
Yeah.
And historically they're not cheap. So it's a big gamble for them. So that's why it matters, really. I mean, Just look at the pattern. Just look at the things we're looking at back here. Look at these graphics. Come on. This is a good
What are you
example.
talking about? That's cinematic gold back there. I don't know. I don't know what you're smoking.
I actually do own Super Mario Brothers. It's near and dear to my
Dragon's
heart.
a classic.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.